Hello, Wendell. How was your first week here working with us?
I was great, and yours?
Everything went fine this week. One little hitch though, when I got to Mrs. Baxter's house, she's usually on the porch to greet me, but today she was a little slow getting to the door, and I was able to look inside of her place. Man, she has a lot of stuff in the house. I think it could be a safety hazard.
Well, yes, I also have some clients like that where when you open the door, or you notice there's a lot of hoarding in the house, all type of gadgets and things and books, whatever, just stacked up everywhere. And so I always wonder myself what would happen if they would lose their balance, certainly slip or fall.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is report this situation to one of my coordinators because they're always interested in the clients, and this could really be a safety hazard for somebody.
Yeah, and that'd be a good thing to do because, like I say, you never know what they could lead to. Sometimes something small, like a leaky roof. If you don't ever fix a small area, then before you know it, it becomes a large area and gets out of hand.
You know, you're right. Let's do that now.
All right.
Hello, my name is Dr. Barbara Riley. Thank you for viewing this video. Our objective is to assist you in understanding some of the more important issues facing you and your clients as you make your rounds. What is hoarding? Hoarding is when a person collects a large number of items, whether they have any use or not. If a person has to part with these items, it causes great distress, and their daily function is gravely affected by their hoarding behavior. There are multiple risk factors for hoarding, as you see here. Genetic causes, family history, mental illness, a poor childhood, and many others. Hoarding may be a mental illness, which is termed hoarding disorder. It may be a part of a mental illness, for example, bipolar disorder, or schizophrenia, or depression. Or it may be a part of a medical illness, a stroke, or dementia. Note that hoarding is a sickness. Some examples of hoarding disorder may be a result of illness. Mary had a stroke. As a result, she begins hoarding. John has a late-onset major depressive episode. John begins hoarding, a result of the mental illness. A person with the diagnosis of hoarding disorder, for no reason, Blanche begins to collect stuff of all kinds, and nobody knows why. Once upon a time, there were two brothers, Langley and Homer. They lived in a rich part of New York City. They were snobs, and they were loners, and they didn't work outside the house. They collected everything. They had tripwires and booby traps all over the house. Homer was sick and depended on Langley for his care. On a tip, police went to the house. Homer was found dead of starvation. Langley was found 18 days later under a box. He had accidentally set off one of the tripwires. 136 tons of waste were removed from the house. This is thought to be the worst case of hoarding ever reported. What is hoarding and what is collecting? Collectors are most likely to be free of any mental illness or taking medications for illnesses or chronic conditions. Collectors seem to be attracted to certain objects, but they have no lifestyle problems. It does not interfere with their functioning on a daily basis. For example, some people collect books, some collect coins, some collect dolls. You may be one of those people. Collectors are likely to organize their collections, and they likely not collect too many items. Okay, we've talked about hoarding and collecting. How about hoarding versus clutter? People who clutter pile up stuff without much thought. They can make a change if they have a good enough reason. For example, mother-in-law's coming and you have to clean the house. The clutter never interferes with the health, safety, freedom, or comfort of the individual. Hoarding condition is much more dangerous than clutter or collecting. Hoarding affects the health and welfare of the entire community. Actually, the Houston Police Department has formed a new unit to address hoarding behaviors. One of the more successful success stories in Houston were the two sisters, Mary and Sarah, who were in their 80s and lived alone in a very nice house in the Heights. Sarah was sick. Mary had a mental illness. Mary did not take her medications. Adult Protective Services was called to the home, but were not allowed in by Mary. Adult Protective Services called our medical team, and the medical team went to the home and were not allowed in. Eventually, a court order was obtained to go into the home. A constable had to break into the home in order to gain access. Sarah was very ill and was sent to the hospital, then to a nursing home. Mary was treated. A niece became her guardian, and she was able to return home with a caregiver where she is happy and free to live in her own home once again. Here's some examples of Mary and Sarah's home before and after. Before and the bedroom after, the living room before and after. So what can you, as a Meals on Wheels volunteer or staff member, do? Be safe. Safety first for yourself. Be careful when entering a home. If the house is filthy and filled with stuff, avoid sitting down or touching items. If in doubt, stand by the door. Wear old clothes if you know that a hoarder resides in the home, and shower when you return home. Be supportive and do not make judgment statements or comments on the state of the house. Watch your body language and your facial expression. Watch for many animals and their behavior. Do not approach any animal. Sanitize your hands immediately upon returning to your car. If you are concerned about the health or welfare of residents in the home, make a social services referral to your social services manager. And I want to thank Meals on Wheels staff and volunteers everywhere. As one person, I cannot change the world, but I can change the world of one person.
Yeah, if it's one thing that you guys have taught me this week is to put safety first, because of all the things we do, safety is always the number one priority.
Great.